Positive Spin, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world. On today's show, we'll witness Medicine for Humanity's work improving the health of women in Africa. Then we'll learn about the innovative approach the Super Life Codes Foundation is taking to help solve people's personal difficulties and the problems of the world. And we'll hear the John Dalton Trio performing their interpretation of the music of John Coltrane. Following that, we'll feature a profile of Ical Anglais, recipient of the 2012 Goldman Environmental Prize for the continent of Africa. And finally, we'll see the first film in our new ongoing series, UN in Action.
In our first segment, we profile the vitally important work of Medicine for Humanity, a nonprofit organization founded by Dr. Leo Lagasse in 1995 to improve the health of women in underserved regions of the world. They currently work in Uganda, East Africa, and the organization's qualified medical teams bring much-needed care, surgical training, and sustainable programs of education, prevention, and treatment to local doctors and nurses in that country.
I would say coming to Africa makes you want to come again.
The world we know, but we don't realize, is getting smaller and smaller.
We feel very happy when doctors come to share their experience with us.
As women's health goes in a country, so goes the nation.
Medicine for Humanity's dedicated and diverse group of volunteer physicians has helped countless courageous women across many borders since 1995.
Medicine for Humanity is an international medical care and teaching organization aimed at improving the health of women all around the world. We have teams that travel to underdeveloped countries where the need is truly great. And as we travel, we have learned that if we simply go there occasionally, we may not have made as much impact as if we can focus on education as well.
There is probably unlimited growth potential for the program. We have several ideas. One would be to create a training program for advanced pelvic surgeries that could really teach some people to have the skills to repair fistula, to take care of the cervical cancer cases that are surgically curable, and to help women with prolapse. If we could provide a few people with those skills, I think it would be a self-sustaining legacy of really improving the surgical care here. And then on another level, I think really trying to impact the maternal health outcomes and make sure that women don't die in labor. They don't die at home, they shouldn't die here.
Just keep trying to move. That's right.
They've had a tremendous impact on women's health, issues in this part of the country, and those women will forever be grateful.
She's beautiful.
This is a very delightful 27-year-old who was quite well until about 3 months ago, when she started noting her abdomen was growing, and she started having some pain, and her menstrual periods stopped. She noted this continued to grow, and then she finally came to be examined, and she was found to have these masses. The CAT scan wasn't available, but she did have ultrasound, which documents the masses, and not too much free fluid, so these are pretty much solid masses. I think one of the stickiest problems is that there is a pretty good chance that she might need some chemotherapy, and it's a bit hard to obtain. Some germ cell tumors, many of them, are very, very sensitive to chemo once you get out the tumor mass. We don't know yet, and she realizes this, I think, we don't know yet if it's operable, if it can be removed. So the biggest problem as far as the surgery to get rid of this would be if this tumor has integrated itself into the mesentery of the small intestine, for instance. That's pretty tough to do. You can't sacrifice it. So you fight hard. You will? You promise? Tell her to fight hard. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. You gotta fight. Fight.
Thank Thank you.
Okay.
There should be no question in someone's mind about whether or not to come here. It has been one of the most eye-opening experiences I've ever had, and I've been thinking a long time about coming here since the start of residency and what is it going to be like, and you know, I had all these ideas and expectations of what I might find here, and really you have no idea till you get here. I think it's really been wonderful for our learning as surgeons, operating on, number one, cases that we don't usually see back home and learning how to do that. And number two, learning to operate in ways that we're not used to, again, with instruments we don't usually use and improvising and all that. And it really has improved our surgical skill. It seems like the residents who are learning here are really invested in moving things forward and improving healthcare throughout their communities. So it's been ups and downs and just such a mix, and I think that it's just been truly remarkable.
Look at that smile. Now that's a smile. That's good.
The take-home point for me is that there is so much that could possibly be done, and each small step that you take makes a huge difference in an individual life. It's like the tipping point. You have to build up to this certain point and then things become self-sustaining. And in order to do that, you really have to make these initial small steps. You need to see a few people trained a little, and then you see a few people trained that much more. Then you start to see the whole system begin to come up and move forward. And that's where you're really going to see large numbers of women's lives changed. And I think that that's something that we can all feel really good about.
Prostaglandins, which initiate labor. Are we together?
Medicine for Humanity plans to maximize the resources available in this 21st century to launch a series of internet-based distance learning programs aimed at offering up-to-date medical training and education to doctors and nurses in underserved countries.
Certainly we have some of the most promising partnerships that one could ever desire. Certainly we have the acceptance in the developing countries, and we think we've got a vision for the future. The vision is not to build new buildings or to keep sidewalks clean. It is to create new education.
Now we'll learn about the SuperLife Codes Foundation, an organization that promotes the value of the two most important codes of life, love and gratitude. The organization believes these two words together create the most important vibration. And while most people understand these words very well, they don't necessarily apply them in their daily lives correctly and effectively. So the mission is to share and promote these two important codes with everyone to help them solve their life's difficulties, which will in turn solve many of our societal problems. The positive changes will lead to a better personal life, an improved community, and a better world.
My name is Rita Panza. About a year ago, I read a book called The SuperLife Secret Codes. And a few of my friends also read it, and we all found the teaching in this book was so profound, full of tremendous wisdom. So we decided to form a non-profit organization called SuperLife Codes Foundation, simply to promote the value of the two most important life codes, which is love and gratitude that the book talks about. The two words together create the most important vibration. And most people understand these two words very well, but not necessarily apply them to their daily lives effectively. And the book shows us step by step exactly how to do it.
My name is Mike Desjardins. I'm a lawyer in Southern California. I read the book SuperLife Secret Codes. The book was given to me by a friend, and I really liked it. If love and gratitude was central to the way that people conducted themselves in their lives, we wouldn't have nearly the amount of controversy and disagreements and conflict that we have in our society.
I'm Michael Shapiro, and I'm cruise director on the MS Paul Gauguin in Tahiti. When I read SuperLife Secret Codes, what really came up for me was the use of love and gratitude. And it was more than just the words love and gratitude. It was how we daily put those into our life. How we really participate in our moment-to-moment thinking, and how we choose to relate to people in that moment from a place of love and gratitude.
The book talks about, or teaches us some very simple meditations, which are very simple and anybody can do, and yet they're very effective. And they have a long-lasting effect on you, on us, when we do them. And I think that if we repeated these things regularly, it would significantly change our outlook and change the way we go through our lives.
And it's very simple, but it's extremely powerful. And think, if everyone on the planet's coming from that place, we have a much richer, fuller planet, and we have all the aspects of life coming to us in a healthy, positive way. And that's very exciting, and it's ingratiating that our lives can be fuller day to day, moment to moment.
In all these years in doing this, I can see that having this conflict, whether you're the winner or the loser, is a very negative influence in people's lives. And it's this lack of love and gratitude in their lives and in the practice of their lives that results in the frustration and the emptiness that many people feel in their lives. And I was finding myself flying off the handle and becoming upset and angry with employees, and I felt like people that I was dealing with, whether it was other lawyers or courtroom employees or judges, I found myself just embroiled in a lot of very ugly conflict, and it was really very negative. And then when I read the book and I started paying attention to spiritual growth and things, and from reading the book, I started to think about and treating people that I dealt with love and gratitude, and within a very short time, within weeks, my own staff were telling me, Mike, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, keep doing it because you're really different.
I try to do this daily, and I try to do this throughout my entire life, whether it be with business or with family or with friends. I always try to see people from a place of love, and you get a much healthier response that way. It's a very individual thing, and how we approach these ideas of love and gratitude are very individual. But what's really important is to understand that when we're coming from love instead of fear, and we're coming from gratitude instead of contempt or disdain, we have a much fuller, wonderful life.
I know that people search for these things all their lives, and if they're not looking in the right place, they may not find it. And yet this book is, as I said, it's simple. You don't have to have a PhD to read and understand this book.
Not all of us can do great things, but I believe we can do many small things with great love and gratitude. If everyone can do just a little bit and incorporate the two concepts into their lives and teach our children to do the same, we will have a better world for generations to come. Now, everybody is meant to have an amazing life. When we apply the two life codes, amazing things will happen. I thank you for watching, and I welcome you to join us to make this a better world and planet.
In the next segment, we hear the music of the John Dalton Trio, featuring Don Dalton on guitar, John Paul Guard on organ, and Dave Tull on drums. This music video is the trio's take on the John Coltrane classic, Moment's Notice.
I'm Ed Asner, and you're watching Positive Spin Television, presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world.
In our next segment, we profile Ikal Anglay, a courageous environmentalist from Kenya and recipient of the 2012 Goldman Environmental Prize, the world's largest and most prestigious environmental award.
Lake Turkana provides a vital life stream for the people of the severely challenged desert region of Kenya. A proposed dam on the river that feeds the lake will threaten the very existence of the inhabitants of this vast, arid landscape.
I think there are all sorts of questions about the dam. There is a long-term implication of environmental damage and the loss of livelihoods and the disappearance of a lake which provides fish. And the fact that traditional nomads and pastoralists are being forced into new areas crossing international frontiers to find limited amounts of grazing. And this has always before and will again for many years led to conflict.
When Richard Leakey brought the whole issue about what's happening at the dam, he basically brought me documents and said, well, it's your people and you go on with it. While coming from this community, I had stayed out so long that I had to come back and really integrate myself wholly to understand what challenges I was going to face.
Ikal Anglay formed the Friends of Lake Turkana movement and began to gather the communities together to hear their concerns. The response from the people was devastating.
If our government is unable to come to some agreement and stop the dam, then there is no point. We will be better off if the government would dig a grave for us, and as soon as that dam begins, we can all walk into that grave.
We don't want that sort of development that wipes out a way of life for people, that wipes out a culture. That's what, for me, was going to be lost. It wasn't easy. It was hard. The days I'd go to bed, really, I'd cry at night and ask myself, what am I doing?
ECAL and her newfound constituency made demands of the major stakeholders, including the Kenyan Parliament and the World Bank, to halt the $60 billion Gibi 3 dam project. To many people's amazement, their efforts were successful.
We used information, we used opportunity, and we used networks and friends. UNESCO has made a ruling that was for us. We've had the European Investment Bank withdrawing. The feeling can't be explained. The days you just stand there and you tear because you're excited. You understand this is just but one hurdle, but it's been so exciting. It's a desert, and you find a lake right in the middle. Why was it there? There had to be a reason. And that's why there's a reason why we'll keep fighting to just leave it there.
For outstanding environmental achievement in Africa, the 2012 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to ECAL Angele, Lodwar, Kenya.
Finally, we present our next film in the ongoing series, UN in Action.
This is UN in Action.
I've always been fascinated with the local wild animals. But before, I was powerless to protect them.
But now, Dr. Joseph Okui is anything but powerless. He is engaged in a dangerous struggle against a criminal poaching network to protect these animals, his lifelong passion. As chief warden of Gabon's Ivindo National Park, 1,200 square miles of dense rainforest, Joseph struggles to save severely endangered local forest elephants, increasingly hunted and killed for their valuable ivory tusks. They're particularly lucrative targets for poachers, he says, as they possess larger tusks per body weight than most other African species.
In this region, it's known that there are what is referred to as the big carriers. There are elephants whose tusks touch the ground.
Tom the Milliner is the coordinator of the United Nations program to monitor the illegal killing of elephants.
Central African forests are being devastated by poaching. That's where most of the ivory comes from, illegal ivory comes from.
The elephant tusks are smuggled out of Gabon as part of a vast international network of traffickers. Headed largely to Asia, the ivory is used for decorative and other purposes. With illegal trade in ivory products reaching record levels in 2011, it is feared that as many as 12,000 African elephants may be slaughtered every year for their tusks.
We are losing the battle for African elephants in Central Africa.
But Joseph recognizes that many poachers are often doing this work simply to survive. One of the main forces driving the supply of tusks in Gabon, he believes, is poverty. And the region's poor indigenous pygmies, well known for their hunting skills, are especially vulnerable to exploitation by the traffickers.
They don't have work. They have needs like everybody else. They don't have any professional skills. So the elephant, with the value of ivory, is an enormous temptation. Have you got any other means of earning a living apart from killing elephants?
Afan, a local Baka pygmy, has just been arrested with another suspect when we arrived at Joseph's office in the town. Joseph asks him why he killed the elephant.
Because they give me some soap, some salt and some petrol. Because I don't have any. That's why I killed it.
Afan was paid the equivalent of $40 US, a fortune to him, but a measly sum compared to the profit made by the middleman, who in turn sells the tusks to the traffickers for 25 times that amount. Now, Afan faces both a fine way beyond his means and a prison sentence of 3 to 6 months. Although government efforts have been stepped up to stop illegal poaching across the country, Joseph says it is important to curb not only the supply, but also the international demand for ivory.
I think that if justice is going to be severe, it should be directed at the people who buy the ivory and put it on the international market, rather than at the young people who are just looking for means to feed their families. Much more needs to be done for conservation to become a reality. The international community should support a country like Gabon, which is really trying to solve this problem.
Well, that's our show for today. I'm Bill McCarthy, and we hope this show has inspired you to take action in your local community to create a better world. And I want to remind you that everyone can make a difference. Go out and make some positive news.
The Humanitarian African Relief Organization, HARO, is honored to host its second annual charity gala dinner to benefit the children of Horn of Africa by building an orphanage home for 850 kids. It will be held at the Holiday Inn at 3805 Murphy Canyon Road in San Diego, California on December 16, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. Ticket prices are $65 per person. For more information, please don't hesitate to call or email us.